so it's pretty safe to say that I know her. Anyways, we went to primary school together, so I got to see her grow up, become who she really was. Now, another thing we share is the same learning disability. As you can see, it's not the kind that immobilizes you for the rest of your life, as I'm standing here today. But there is one striking difference. I got diagnosed at age 14, she got diagnosed at age 4. So before she even came in for the first day of school, teachers have already heard about her. And they approached her differently. They treated her lesser than, not there, like she needed more help. Not in a positive way of encouragement, of actually accommodating her needs, but in a judging way. And for as long as I can remember, that label stuck. Now let me tell you that this girl is not, and was not dumb in any game of the world. She has had some of the highest academic scores I have ever seen. She has exceeded in many academic fields. She catches things almost instantly. She's one of the smartest people I know, but she had that awful label. And then it spread. It wasn't just her being a teacher, it was all of them. And it wasn't just them, it also spread to the parents and then to the kids. And she was always treated much more as the comic relief friend and not the smart one. So she changed direction. She started making more jokes, laughing louder. She started liking the same music, having the same interests, and then she got more friends. She started going to parties, drinking, smoking. She got more friends. And then she started completely abandoning her academic career in favor of hanging out with the people who she liked for being popular. And she got more friends again. Now that is assimilation. According to Britannica, assimilation is the process whereby individuals from different ethnic groups, yes, that's a graph, sorry, whereby individuals from different ethnic groups take on the traits of the dominant majority group in society. Assimilation also assumes the complete acquisition of those traits up to the point of being absolutely socially indistinguishable from the majority group. Therefore, assimilation is the most extreme form of acculturation. Now, this definition may be often confused with integration. An example of integration would be, for example, immigrants from Ukraine coming into our country, learning our language, abiding by our laws, adopting our customs, but for example, still speaking Ukrainian at home. That's integration. But according to a bachelor in political science, Hanna Olech, no relation, assimilation assumes the end goal to be the elimination of any previous differing traits. And that is where the issue lies. Let me take you on a journey through my thought process. It is removing anything that makes them them, removing anything that makes them different, de facto removing them. Now, the example that I pointed out here may not even seem like an issue to a lot of people. Well, the girl just kind of changed her personality around. She's doing pretty well in life, to be honest. That's not necessarily a bad thing in her example. But what happened in our small classroom, in our primary school, can also happen on the world stage, can also happen in politics. And this can endanger people's lives. I have the feeling that one example didn't really do this problem justice, so let me name two more. The first one is one that I tend to laugh at a lot, and it's the phenomenon of Latinos for Trump, or gays for Trump, or real women for Trump. Now here on the stage, of course, I will not try to sway you in any political direction, tell you who to vote for, as that's not my role. That's not the point of this speech. Vote however you want. But what I find funny is individuals or groups that know they are being discriminated against, that know the very party or person they claim to or really do support isn't really that big of a fan of them. And that gets you nowhere, because the quote-unquote enemy, the oppressor, whatever you want to call it, isn't going to stand on your side either. You're still a part of the smaller minority group of the community. And the people who want to sit by your side are also going to turn against you. Because who are you now? You're not our friend. You stood with quote-unquote the bad guys. I got a little bit of track, and I got a little bit emotional. So let me name a fun example. Picking girls, right? And while waking up every day and putting other women down is certainly a choice, she is not entirely to blame. Who we should point fingers to here is misogyny. The feeling that as long as you are a girl or like the other girls, you will be discriminated against, less respected. You will not have the access to the same opportunities and positions as men or other different girls do. And for a long time, as a part of many minority groups, I mean, look at me, I got angry. I got angry because the people that once stood by my side suddenly turned against me. And it wasn't just abandoning our community, it wasn't just changing who they were, but they stood on the other side. And as a youngster, I got very angry because I felt betrayed. But now that I've grown up a little, I see why it happens. It's easy. Or rather, in some cases, it's necessary for survival, for safety, whatever you want to call it. Because as long as in our society there's bigotry or discrimination, any form of oppression, there will always be people that feel they need to change themselves, and I don't blame them. Because God knows if you offer 10-year-old me the chance to not be bullied, but instead become the bully, I would have taken it, no questions asked. And so would so many kids, and even older people around the world. So who do we blame? I hate to say it, but we do live in a society. And in this society, we can't really change it. I mean, we can. We can get involved in activist groups, in youth politics, in actually adult politics. We can try, and we can put our efforts into every little thing. But it's not like we can just demolish all of society and then build it from the ground up in a system where no one is oppressed or discriminated anymore. So what's the point? Why am I even saying this? Is there a real solution? What's the point of complaining about a problem if you're not giving us anything? Well, the most one can do about this is stand on stage and talk about it for 15 minutes. Because, really, it's a matter of recognition. I could wrap this speech up here, but there's one more thing. It's not one thing you get involved in, it's not one organization you give your money to, it's more of a moral. It's more of a style of thinking, it's a way of life, let's say. And to explain it, I have to take you on another journey to my thought process. Now, though exclusion and assimilation may seem, excuse the graphs, I do myself, but though exclusion and assimilation may seem like polar opposites, fundamentally they are the same. Because assimilation assumes only being integrated into the bigger group once you completely abandon who you were before. Exclusion just excludes you straight away. Either way, it's the thought of, if you are different, you can't sit with us. So, my advice here would be the same as Marian Turski's. And if you don't know who that is, Marian Turski is a Holocaust survivor from Poland. And though I know the example may seem extreme, I would like to reference his speech about concentration camps, where he states many times, never be indifferent. In his speech, he mentions a conversation he once had with a Polish president about how these camps didn't fall from the sky. Of course they didn't. They were still cleaning up to it. But like a frog being boiled in water, people ignored it because it was small enough to ignore. Then the steps got bigger, but they were already used to the smaller ones, until it got so big no one could ignore it anymore, but then it was too late. And it was all because people just didn't care. They saw it and they glossed over it. They thought, this isn't that much of an issue. We can just leave it. And I have to wrap this speech up somehow, finally. So let me say a couple of closing statements. First of all, never be indifferent. Second of all, really try to listen when a person is so outraged by an issue, they felt the need to write a whole speech, get up on stage and teach you about it. And third of all, Though it may sound like a little out of quote, if you can afford it, if it is safe enough to do so, become truly and unashamedly yourself. Because if I hadn't made that choice for myself around 5 years ago, I wouldn't be standing on this stage here today, and I couldn't imagine being happier. Thank you.